Hello and welcome to The Sweet Spot, brand new podcast. First of all, I'd like to say hello to my intrepid producer, Phil.
Hello.
How are you doing today, Phil?
I'm doing just fine.
All right. So, as usual, I've been agonizing all day about how to describe this podcast and what we're doing. And I've come up with a few words. Unusual stories, accidents and adventures, learning from catastrophe, effervescent moments. But really, it's up to you. This first season is called Black Eye. What happens when you get a black eye? Big, puffy swelling, lurid bruise, tears and stars, blurred vision, all temporary. But imagine if it wasn't. This is how I responded to the worst crisis of my life. Perhaps it will tell you something about me and my carnival of friends and family. Right, so Phil, the quote I've chosen is from Blackadder III. Great show. Do you remember Blackadder?
Of course,
yeah, it's fantastic. The quote is, "Fortune vomits on my eider down." Day one, the big reveal. The surgeon bounds into the ward, full of energy and enthusiasm. As I sit up in bed and shake his hand, I'm trying to get used to him in his blue hospital outfit. He disappears behind the bandages over my right eye and tells me the procedure was a success. He'd removed the tumour from behind my eyeball. In his warm, playful voice, he asks how I slept. "Pretty good," I say. After an afternoon of pre-op fasting, I'd eaten everything the nurses had thrown at me, and I'd even managed some sleep. I feel his breath on my right side, his fingers taking the bandages off my eye. "There," says the surgeon. I blink. I hear his fingers click in front of my eye. "Is it off yet?" I say. I sense that the surgeon is waving his hand over my right side. I see nothing. As he walks around the side of the bed and slumps into a chair, I realize that this is the worst moment of all. This is the first time I've seen such a resolutely cheerful man look so disappointed. "This isn't good, is it?" I say. "No," he says. "It isn't." I feel a rush of cold realization. I hear myself asking all the obvious questions about follow-up surgery, any experimental techniques, anyone looking for a lab rat. But there are no solutions. He explains what happened, and I pick out the narrative from the optical terminology. A nerve leading into my eye, shocked by the insult of surgery, has spasmed and contracted around the artery. Not a good word, spasmed. The blood flow was squeezed off, causing an ischemia, which sounds like a heart attack. 4% of people end up like me. The surgeon put the possible recovery rate at 20%. So, there it is. I'm blind in my right eye. I look at my hand. The writing on my palm is still there. Would it help? Some people in my situation would want to keep it to themselves, to try to work through the shock, spend a while raging at fate or God or science. I'm unable to find a scapegoat for my situation, so I decide to share the news and see how my friends and family react. One of the first messages I get on my WhatsApp page is from the psychologist, an old friend from university. "FFS, dude, really? That sucks. Though on the plus side, you're now a living, breathing cyclops. Did they at least sort your micropenis out?" That's one of my all-time favourites. He cracked me up. Perfect. His message proved I can still laugh, and laughing is my only defiance. It helps me realise that, on aggregate, I'm lucky. I'm physically and financially secure. I have a coven of friends wherever I live and have lived. And in the immediate moments after my diagnosis, my friends come alive on multimedia. The night before the big reveal, I sent round a photo of me goofing around in bed and pointing at my bandages, feeling good to be alive. Alive is the first post-requisite of general anaesthetic. There must be at least a tiny chance of death during an eye procedure. So that's good news. Yay. 4%. I find myself at the far end of a statistic. When it actually happens, when you're actually on that plane, rushing to the ground, 4% jumps to 100 in the blink of an eye. My father's immediate email response to the news is direct. Shit. Love, Pops. The surgeon comes around between his subsequent operations and slides into the chair once more. He's so tall, I'm sure he folds himself up to go to bed. By this time, my mother has arrived and she's asking him questions. She's ashen, but calm. And all I can do now is go home and keep up my course of steroids to reduce the swelling. And so, as I'm discharged from the world-famous eye hospital, I'm putting together a slogan for their services. Come in with 2 eyes, leave with 1. I have to go back in a week for a checkup to see if the scars left by the incision are healing. My mother is amazing. That afternoon we go out and buy an expensive pair of sunglasses. Great glasses, my father writes. Did you get them for half price?
We all love a dad joke, don't we?
Bonza. I mean, that's got to be the ultimate dad joke, isn't it? It's fantastic. Yeah. Day 2, offerings. So this is my second day half blind. I'm full of raging uncertainty. I need to be active, doing something. So I cruise around London wearing my shades. This is the golden age of distraction, and London is a hub of displacement activity. Soon I'm sitting in an Iranian cafe near Camden Town. This is where I wrote the story Newton's Eye about 6 years ago. I was drinking the same dynamite-spiced mochas, working at the same cool, checkered tabletop, seeing everything with wonderful, perfect, binocular vision. Now I'm hopped up on steroids, and my mind is plastered with posters saying, "My eye has died." There are sparkles in the darkness behind my pupil, as my brain tries to remedy what my father calls this calamity. I'm awake, yet semi-asleep. Last night I stepped into a dark room and saw a brilliant silver light in my damaged eye, bright as a lamp beneath the eyelid. Was it only a mirage? The brain compensating for an absence? Was it just borrowed light from my working eye? I cried twice today. The first time I imagined going to the surgeon's office for my checkup and saying, "I can see you," and he hugged me. In reality, I'll probably go in and say, "You must perform a lot of miracles, restore sight to the blind, but there have to be anomalies." Am I a sacrifice to the laws of probability? The second time I cried was when I was designing some Christmas presents. I arranged photo books and collage posters on an excellent website and get them sent to me. I was shifting through dozens of photos of my son when his face, so beautiful and happy, overwhelmed me. Crying is a fantastic panacea. It's a shame guys don't do it much. First offering. I've just had a Nando's with A charming young Kenyan Indian businessman with a death trigger heart. He updates me on his condition. The moment A feels the beginning of a response to certain food, he stops whatever he's doing, orders an Uber and heads straight to A&E. The medics all know him as anaphylactic A. His last attack came after a spider bite. He is 8 years younger than me and he can't go to the gym anymore. His condition has nearly killed him lots of times. Thanks, I say. I'm feeling a lot better now. I mean it. In my self-involved state, his anaphylaxis feels like an offering. Who's in worse shape than me? I feel like a fat person hanging out with the obese just to feel thinner. I'm a bad news vampire. Children in need. I'm staying near Cricklewood with my friend, the designer. She loves nagging me with, "Have you taken your eye drops yet?" and "Time for steroids." Tonight, she's showing me TV I'm unfamiliar with, beginning with The X Factor and I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Both are easy to sneer at, well produced and watchable. Children in Need impresses me. The stories about the children's lives between the songs are devastating. One bright little girl was pummeled by a rare disorder, leaving her in a wheelchair. 2 boys rebelled after the sudden death of their father. Horrifying and wrong, but who to get mad at? The designer and I both contribute to the Children in Need Fund, and I give money to a woman who brings ponies to elderly care homes, my ex-wife's half-marathon fund, and a children's blind trust. I'd be lying if I wasn't hoping for karma. Sometime during the show, my friend, the counsellor, calls from Edinburgh. His offering is a slipped retina, probably precipitated by heading a football. 3 operations followed, and then he lost the eye. Thanks, I say. That's a good one. For a while, he thought he was going to lose the other eye. At least I got to buy a bigger TV, he says. I tell him, "You did the operations on the NHS?" "Yeah." "Oh, look on the upside. Mine cost $5,000. You got yours for free." But he trumps me with the final fate of his eye. It deflated like a football. I had to get it removed. Oh, now you're just showing off. Later, I check my eye in the mirror. It's lolling like a boxer beaten in a corner. The thought of it shrivelling up is revolting. What would it be like having an empty socket, polishing my eyeball before I go to work in the morning? I look at my hand. I can still make out the words, "Would it help?" I look at my eye in the mirror and it doesn't look back at me. It's dull and bleary, like an oyster. Day 3. Side effects. A text. "Dickhead, you okay? If you get tired of teaching, you could always run away to the circus." From my friend, the psychologist.
I think you need new friends.
He's obviously my bestie. He's obviously, this is what I need. Yeah. Today's menu. Constipation. It's not from the steroids, but the pills which are meant to help deal with the steroids, whose side effects are a solidity I've never felt before. So I set off for a chemist in Cricklewood. and my constipation comes along. At times it feels like riding a horse. Clip, clop, clip, clop. By the time I reach the nearest pharmacy, I'm really keen on a quick solution. I lean on the counter and explain my predicament to a pretty pharmacist in a hijab. She recommends a particularly effective brand of suppositories. At this, I perk up. I can be home in 10 minutes. Fire a torpedo. Sorted. We're out of stock, says the pharmacist. I mutter something apocalyptic under my breath. She gives me a slip of paper. There's another chemist just 5 minutes away. A deep breath and off I set. Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop. The doorbell tings. The second pharmacist clocks me the moment I come in. Customer in shades on a cloudy morning. Good morning! You got any suppositories? I say. The pharmacist is a sallow grandfather type. He checks my prescription. Ah, a sigh of recognition. I take these myself. With that, he fishes out a packet from under the counter. I wonder, is this his special stash? As he arranges payment, he diagnoses my predicament. It's winter, and this central heating is drying us all out. You need to put a bowl of water beside the radiator and open the windows. I touch my debit card on the reader. As it beeps, we both share a moment of wonder at the swiftness of commercial technology. It goes through so quickly, says the pharmacist. Here's hoping, I say. Someone in the shop bursts out laughing. It was a good moment, actually, Phil. A good moment.
Yeah.
That was a sweet spot moment, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it's a coalescence of wonderful things. I think that's one time when you get a sweet spot. Where you get a great moment when everyone sort of gets it. And there's like a buzz of humour or something. I think that's a good example of a sweet spot moment. Back to my father. My father writes, presumed pain meds behind bowel issue. I'm digging around and talking with Ann Arbor eye men. Remembering that horrible but funny World War II story. Brit, captured from crashed plane, has to have leg amputated. Asks the Germans to drop it back in England. Then an arm goes bad and he says, please drop it off in England. Then his other leg goes. This time they say no, we won't drop it off in England. Why not? We figured it out. You're trying to escape. That's a great story. And that ends episode 1.